Hey there, how there, ho there. It's Jeff Cutter Davitt. Welcome you to yet another OTP 24 divisional preview. And this division, we will be previewing the AL South as a new division. As I said, I decided to do all 30 franchise legendary teams and then add 30 seasonal teams, one per franchise. So you see the three seasonal teams represented and all that. So that basically means that I pick a seasonal team and all that. So 5 divisions of 6 per league. And let's go to the newly created AL South that has Houston, Tampa, and Texas representing it. Houston and Texas pilfered from the AL West and Tampa from the AL East. They're from the southern states. First team to be talked about is Houston. Houston has the main lineup of Cesar Cedeno on there with Craig Biggio, Craig Biggio, second base, lifetime Astro. He used to be a catcher, then he went to second base, and a lot of hits for the Astros franchise. Lance Berkman, a good left fielder. Jeff Bagwell at first base, lifelong Astro, being traded from the Boston organization. All that. Ken Caminiti at third base, RIP due to steroid use. Glenn Davis at designated hitter. He used to be a pretty good hitter. Yeah, just make that a little bit bigger. Okay, hitter. Richard Hidalgo at center field. Dickie Fon will play shortstop. And Brad Asmus will be behind the plate. The rotation, J.R. Richard, who had blazing fastball, was one of the best strikeout artists until his untimely stroke in the 1980 season. Mike Scott, known for his cut fastball that a lot of people thought was cheating. Roy Oswald, good pitcher. Shane Reynolds, good guy in the 90s. And Don Wilson, who was a decent pitcher in the early 70s for the Astros, who died accidentally by monoxide poisoning. Closer is Billy Wagner, a good left-handed closer and all that. Brad Lynch, also a good closer. He's in the bullpen. Larry Anderson, the guy who the Astros traded to Boston to get the rights to Bagwell, is in Houston's thing. Octavio Dotel, a reliever as well. Frank DiPino, Xavier Hernandez, and Larry Durker, who would go on to be a famous broadcaster slash manager for the Astros. So as we take a look at the ballpark, we see that the Astros are playing at the Astrodome with the exploding scoreboard, as it were. A very good scoreboard. Those shoot fireworks and Texas guns and all that. And it's a pretty good field. Well, the 2017 Astros are playing in Minute Maid Park, and they are not going to share the park. So I put the Houston Legends at the Astrodome. So we got Houston. Next is Tampa. Their primary lineup is Carl Crawford at left field, the speedster. Greg Vaughn at DH, who was pretty decent. Evan Longoria, a great third baseman in Tampa history. The guy who helped Tampa get to the 2011 wild card because of a home run that just went over the left field porch. Jose Canseco in right field. I know that he's not really a Tampa Bay icon, but he could have been with Oakland. But the A's didn't want him. Aubrey Huff at first base. Powerful hitter. Ben Sobers at second, although he would win a World Series ring with the Cubs in 2016. Dave Martinez at center. Julio Lugo at short, and Diego Navarro behind the plate. The rotation is David Price, the leadoff guy. The ace, very good left-hander for Tampa Bay, always there when you need him. Scott Kazmir, another lefty, is the second in command. Matt Garza, number 3. Jeremy Hellickson, number 4. And James Shields, number 5. In the bullpen, Fernando Rodney at closer. Jake McGee and Grant Belfour are your relievers. Well, the setup guys for Rodney, shooting the arrow. J.P. Howell In the bullpen, Roberto Hernandez, the first closer in Tampa history. Esteban Yan, another good closer, and Dan Wheeler. You take a look at the ballpark for Tampa. It is Tropicana Field. And if you saw the highlights, like the review of the AL East, you've like the 2020 Tampa Bay Rays, why are they playing in the same stadium? Well, for starters, Tampa's only played in one stadium. So, like, what would be the spare stadium for the Tampa organization, for the Legends or the 2020 team and all that? I just couldn't find a place. So I just put Tropicana Field for both Tampa teams. Next up will be Texas, the Texas Legends. Ian Kinsler at second base. Mike Young at shortstop. Josh Hamilton, the power hitting center fielder. When he was clean and sober, he was great. Frank Howard at DH. Now remember, Texas didn't always start in Texas. They were actually the Washington Senators. And you'll be confused saying, wait, Washington was Minnesota. Yeah, but when Minnesota got Washington, they put an expansion franchise in the nation's capital, and that only lasted 11 years until it came to Texas in 1972. So Frank Howard was the main guy from those Washington Senators in the 1960s. Rafael Palmeiro at first base. I have not used steroids, period. Yes, you did, but you're still a good hitter. Juan Gonzalez in left field, power bat. Pudge Rodriguez behind the plate, always getting those people down. Nelly Cruz in right field, great guy in the 2010s. And Buddy Bell at third base. The rotation is Nolan Ryan, the ace. He decided to play for Texas, and he's the flamethrower, fireballer, and all that you all know and love. Fergie Jenkins, surprisingly, is on Texas' roster, not the Cubs roster. But I think he figured out he could be better with Texas. And Fergie Jenkins, the only Canadian pitcher to be in the Hall of Fame. We all know that Larry Walker's in the Hall of Fame too, but he's a batter. Charlie Hood, the master of the knuckleball, is the 3-hole pitcher. Kenny Rogers, the left-hander. 2 stints with the Rangers. His first stint in the 90s led to a perfect game in 1994. And of course, his second stint, known for his camera antics, like pushing the camera aside. And Dick Bosman, the number 5 pitcher. Bullpen, Francisco Cordero is the closer. Jeff Russell, who also was a closer for Texas, alongside Alex Ogando, will be the setup guys. Akiri Osaka is your middle reliever. Daniel Day, the frisbee throwing player, also is there. Jeff Zimmerman, Canadian from British Columbia, who burst on the scene in 1999. And Dave Baldwin, guy from the 70s, if I'm right. Anyway, ballpark is Old Arlington Stadium, as the 2011 Texas Rangers are in the AL West, and they will use Globe Life Field. So Arlington Stadium is where Texas is playing. Now, you'll be probably thinking, this is a plain stadium. Well, I'll show you the 3D model. Usually I don't when I do the stadiums, but I don't know if you could see. I guess you can't. I guess they took out the Texas size scoreboard. That there was supposed to be a scoreboard with the state of Texas. But I guess not. Well, that's where they'll play. Anyway, the 1985 Kansas City Royals, well, they were forced to be in the AL South because they couldn't find anywhere else to be. So the 85 Royals, Willie Wilson in center field, Jorge Orta DHing, Steve Balboni, bye-bye Balboni at first, George Brett, the legend, at third base and batting cleanup, Hal McRae in left, Frank White at second, Pat Sheridan right field, Jim Sundberg, the catcher, the guy who hit that wind-blown triple that sunk the Blue Jays in the 85 ALCS, and Onyx Concepcion at shortstop. The rotation, Brett Saberhagen, the man at 21 years old. You know, he was a good pitcher for the Royals. And he helped the Royals win the World Series in Game 7. Danny Jackson, the number 2 guy, a reliable left-hander. Charlie Liebert, decent for the 85 Royals. Of course, he's memorable for the 91 World Series in the wrong fashion in Game 6. Mark Kusiba, the 4 whole pitcher, and Bud Black, another reliable lefty. It's number 5. Dan Quisenberry at closer. Joe Beckwith, Larry Gura, Mark Hussman, Tony Ferreira, Mike Lacoste, and Dennis Leonard to the bullpen. Right, because Dennis Leonard was a good Royals starter in his day. Ballpark information is Royal Stadium. Now, a lot of people will be thinking, yeah, they played at Royal Stadium, but are they sharing with the actual Kansas City Royals? They are. So I could have used Municipal Stadium, but I didn't think Municipal Stadium suited the Royals legends, so I decided to make the Royals share that the two Royals teams share this stadium. Okay, next team, the 1929 Philadelphia Athletics. Kind of, they needed to find somewhere to be. Oakland needed to find somewhere. I know by proxy I could have given the 1974 Oakland A's a spot and all that, but there's a reason. We'll get to it. Anyway, their bullpen's thin, so I'm going to probably have to add a few pitchers to the 29 A's. Anyway, Bing Miller in right field, Jimmy Dykes at short, Al Simmons at left, Jimmy Fox at first, Neil Haas, good hitter, Simmons at left, Neil Haas center field, Mickey Cochran catching, Joe Boley will DH, Max Bishop will play second, and Sammy Hale will play third. The rotation, Lefty Grove is at the start of the rotation. Great pitcher he was. George Earnshaw, Howard Emke, Bill Shores, and Rube Wahlberg. The bullpen's got Jack Quinn, Carol Yerkes, Eddie Rummel, Bill Breckenridge, and Ozzie Orwell. So I'm going to add a few more players. Okay, so act as 1929 Philadelphia A's. Oh, sorry, not yet. Stop. So I randomly picked the Angels, rosters and transactions, reserve, pitchers. Ken McBride. Yeah, they don't need Ken McBride. So I'm going to release Ken McBride for the purposes of having him join the 29 Angels, Phillies. Minnesota will also 3+7. So Minnesota will also give up a pitcher, Doug Corbett, Dave Goltz. I don't think they need Dave Goltz, so they'll release him. The Goltz will be released and then act as the 1929 A's, go through transactions, make sure you get pitcher. So Dave Goltz will be signed by the 1929 Phillies. And he'll wear 34 for them. So Dave Goltz will wear 34. Transactions, Ken McBride at pitcher. And he'll wear number 40 for the 29 A's. So he'll get some momentum. Okay, act as none. Team home screen. So organization, ask AI to set up complete team. Yeah, because that gets them in the active roster. I think I have to do that for what other team did I? The 1970 Orioles, I think was. Yeah, the 1970 Orioles. I have to move up because I got 2 pitchers for them, and I think that's it. Yeah, that's it. All right, and then the 2002 Angels will wrap up the AL South and wrap up the AL as a whole. Got David Eckstein at short, Adam Kennedy at second, the guy who actually hit 3 home runs in one game in the LCS to help the Angels make the World Series. Tim Salmon in right, Garrett Anderson in left, Brad Fulmer, your DH. Scott Spezio at first base. He had a key home run in Game 6 of the World Series in 2002. Troy Glaus at third. Darren Erstad at center field. I know he played first base too, but he played in the outfield too. And Benji Molina catching. Jared Washburn, John Lackey, good pitchers of their own. Raymond Ortiz, Kevin Apier, and Aaron Seeley are your rotation. The bullpen, Brandon Donnelly at closer. Scott Shields and Troy Percival being the setup guys. Herb Panic, Mark Lucidovich, Ben Weaver, and Mickey Callaway are there too. How did Panic get in? Yeah, that Panic is not supposed to. He's not supposed to be in. I don't know how he got in. I think and he's also for the 2017, right? Yeah, yeah, we'll delete him. So, reorganization. Sorry about that. So Donnie Wall will be in the bullpen too. So Donnie Wall will be taking over the bullpen. Now this is the start of the 2002 season because you don't see Francisco Rodriguez. So that could explain a few things. Infill ballpark. And here it is. Edison Field, where the Angels played in 2002. That's where they're going to play their games. You know, the big Angel scoreboard and all that State Farm sign. So the 2002 Angels will play in that stadium and hopefully try to make things happen. So that's all for now. So yeah, so that's just how it goes, and we'll see you on the other side. Anyway, I'm Jeff Diamond. Adieu.